Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to today's episode. I never knew that vegans were a godless crew. That everything you eat makes you poo. You turn and run to the bathroom 'cause you're due. But that's how it's got to be. It's coming down too much, but just too much fibery. Leafy greens, I'd rather eat than stay more and see that everyone knows vegans are terrible people. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to fucking Wednesday. Getting at 'em. Today I woke up and I chose fucking violence. And I know you vegans won't have violence back because you're malnourished. Well, you gonna come at me with your fucking couscous, huh? Fucking fibrous, I don't know, Cliff Bar farts? What, you gonna drown me? Get all the oxygen out of the air? Too much methane from all the fucking fiber y'all eat? The beef is back on. Listen, there's a vaccine running the streets. Boneless wings, vegans, it's back on. Booyakasha! Catch you in the street, catch you slipping. Do I know what anything I mean? What I just said, do I know what it means? No. But I live on the internet. And on the internet, it's make-believe land. Say it with your chest, okay? Say it with your malnourished, probably untanned chest. Actually, it's probably pretty tan. I feel like everybody who hikes and like a lot is vegan. They think they're just one with nature. But you're just one competing with rabbits for their fucking food source. You know? I don't know why I went so hard at vegans, but it is what it is. Sometimes you hear a song, if I'm being honest with you, I heard that song, and those bars just came to me like Jesus Christ, his meat eater self came down and went on my fucking head and was like, get at him. Get at him, okay? Because guess what? Who does Jesus like? The Apostle Peter, okay? And who is Peter really? Peter Rabbit. And what does Peter Rabbit eat? Salads, lettuce. And what do vegans eat? All of Peter Rabbit's shit. So Peter Rabbit said, miss me with that foo-foo shit. Booyakasha! Again, none of this makes sense, but when do you have to make sense? When you're making sense. Bars, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Getting weird on a Wednesday. Diving in the rabbit hole. Peter Rabbit Hole. Bars, back at it again. Just hitting you from every single angle. Bars, ladies and gentlemen. Round the world bars, back again. I was going to start rapping then. I just didn't really feel like it, to be honest with you, ladies and gentlemen. But it feel good. Got some energy. Your boy did a couple lines of pre-workout before this episode, okay? Coming in hot, all right? We're doing good on Wednesday. Happy National Puppy Day yesterday, if you missed it. I feel like every day should be National Puppy Day, you know, because we all love our dogs. That's why it seems so ridiculous when people call dogs, like they have a special emotional support dog. I'm like, bitch, all dogs are emotional support dogs. Why else would we get them? To support the dogs? Like, that's why I always think it's crazy when people are like, they think they're doing the Lord's work by adopting a dog. I'm like, bitch, you're getting more out of that dog than that dog is getting from you, okay? Every dog is an emotional support dog, okay? And listen, I'm a man. Take a good look at me. I'm a man, all right? I've had a dog since I was a kid, all right? Not since I was a kid. Listen, there's some fucked up shit where I always wanted a dog, but when I was born, we had this dog named Bear. Welcome to the Dog Podcast. I was going to try to come up with a dog pun, but it didn't come to me, okay? Bars, I'm sorry. I'm sorry we embarked down this road. Bars, we're back. Bear was this dog's name. It was an Akita, okay? Bear was the perfect name for this dog. Why? It was pretty much a bear, okay? Pretty much a bear. Stay with me, baby bird. I'll feed you. Tweet, tweet. Bear was not tame at all. Bear probably had the brain of a woolly mammoth where, you know, and listen, I follow the creed of a lot of dog trainers. When there's no bad dogs, only bad trainers, only bad owners, only bad people. You got to accept responsibility. But I was just a wee little lad. I was still shitting in diapers and stuff. Bear just was too strong and too woolly mammothy. Okay, we used to have to tie this dog up with horse chains because it was so intense, and it wasn't trained at all. Okay, this dog was more for looking at than participating in family activities. It didn't stay in the house at all. It just had an area in the backyard where we kept it, like it was a fucking junkyard dog. Listen, my dad, 100% Puerto Rican. This man oozes rice and beans. Okay, he grew up in Brooklyn. He is the man I got my infatuation with pigeons from, because that's where it originates. Flying pigeons, the Puerto Rican pigeon. Bars. I keep them birds on deck. Now, this dog lived the life of pretty much a junkyard dog, if you will. Just hung out in the backyard. I would try to pet it every now and then. It was cool, and I was always infatuated with animals, and not in a weird way, but I just liked animals. And Bear would just break out of shit. I remember he ripped our childhood swing set that we had out of the ground because he was just so fucking strong, and he probably caught the whiff of a stag, the scent of a female down in the neighborhood, and was like, "Oh, I'm trying to hit that." Bear was what you call the alpha of the neighborhood, and Bear would just rip his shit off, take his fucking light bulb in between his legs, and go find whatever chickadee he caught scent of, and would just hop a block wall. Just didn't give a shit, just boink, and was gone. And we ended up having to I almost said Beowulf, Bear down. I just realized every single dog I've named has started with a B. Actually, we've had one C in there. But Bear eventually went after a dog that barked at my brother, and we ended up having to put Bear down because Bear was just a menace to society. It was very sad. I remember being very sad about it. But Bear growled at me or something, and my dad was like, "All right, this dog's done." Which, I was too young to realize that we should have treated that dog better. But I was without a dog for a few years of my life. After Bear, my family was like, "Fuck dogs." And I remember I would write for Santa every year, "Just bring me a puppy dog." I would write Santa a note, be like, "Look, I'll make you put a little extra sugar, I'll slip a couple quarters." And I was a little kid, I didn't have a job. A couple quarters, in the note, be like, "Here's a little something extra. You take Mrs. Claus out, put a couple extra chocolate chips on your cookies. Bring your boy a dog, all right? A puppy, Fuck it. I'll settle for a dog. It doesn't have to be a puppy. I'll take something someone else didn't want, Whatever you got left over in inventory, all right? I'll take it." And I would write this letter every year for Santa, "Yo, bring me this fucking dog," and start getting upset about it, And I remember, and there's the point where I knew it was my parents, after a while, I was the youngest of pretty much 5. And after a while, that's why they always say, the youngest gets babied and stuff like that. By the time I came around, my parents were over it. They had too many kids, and it was just all right, Evan, They were done with the whole Santa thing by the time I was still at that age. So I knew. And I knew the letter was going to them. I knew they were upper management. And I remember one year, it was almost hinting at that there was going to be a puppy. And that, when I would ask my parents, "Hey, am I getting a dog?" "I don't know. We'll see." They got me a goddamn stuffed dog. You know what that does to a kid? When you get a stuffed dog for Christmas, when you're expecting a real dog? It's like someone spit in your fucking Fruit Loops. That's what they did to me that Christmas, okay? I mean, I kept the little dog, I kept him in my bed, and it was even to the point where, growing up, I had a pet duck that I got from the farm and feed store, the tack or whatever it was called, Van Dam Farms. Got this little baby duckling, cute little thing, cute little feller. And I treated it like a dog. There's pictures of me chilling with the goddamn duck on the goddamn trampoline. This is my fucking dog. Does it bark? No, it quacks. But it's chill. I wash it. I hang out. I pet it. It's soft. This is my fucking duck or my fucking dog, you know? Real original name, Ducky. All right. And that sufficed as my dog for a lot of years. And then some sad ass shit happened. I still don't know what happened in this mystery. Okay. I had the duck. Okay. I ended up having a couple ducks. I had 3 ducks total. I had Ducky. I forgot the other 2 ducks' names. Over time, I had these ducks. Over time, I built them a little pond and shit. Over time, they had their own cage and shit. Over time, randomly, one night, something sneaks into the cage and steals my duck. The next night, something sneaks into the cage and steals my duck. The third night, something sneaks into the cage and kills my duck. You heard me correct. The third night, I woke up in the morning after, go out there to be like, let's take inventory. The third Ducky, was drowned. And I don't know what happened if Ducky was like, fuck it, I'm not waiting for them to come tonight. Went under the water and just never came back up. Okay? I don't know if it slipped and fell, but it feels like it was an inside job. Okay? And I to this day, I still don't know what happened to my ducks. I don't know. There's a couple different theories. Okay? We had a pigeon coop, we had a duck coop next to it. It used to be a chicken coop. We converted it to a duck coop. Obviously, if you just put ducks in a chicken coop, it's now a duck coop. Bars. We had neighbors move in behind the house, and they wrote a letter to us because they had exotic birds and parrots. And this was at a time when I guess bird flu was going on. And they asked us if we could move our entire pigeon coop and duck coop. At least they respected the name, because they were worried about bird flu with their exotic. And I'm like, what the fuck? Our coops are literally built into the brick wall. Like, it's not something we just go boop and we just slide it over. And then magically, I don't know how spread apart the timelines are, ducks started disappearing. Okay. And then, years later, your boy didn't have a dog. And I remember it's so funny because it's the tale as old as time. When you see how the dad doesn't want a dog, and then it's like the dog and the dad after are like best friends. My dad was so against having a dog. I don't know. I guess my dad was fine with me having hundreds of pigeons throughout my childhood, but I think it's because it was relevant to him. Like, yeah, of course. Hey, this is a kid, got some pigeons. I grew up with pigeons. Now just fly them on the roof, To 99% of America, that seems fucking crazy. Because they're just like, wait, what? Those birds that fly around, those basically flying rats, those were your pets? And it's like, you don't even realize that pigeons, there's only 2 lanes of pigeons, of people who have pets as pigeons. Either you grew up in poverty, or you're like a crazy pigeon breeder. There's no in between. It's like, you can't afford, every kid wants a dog, and they want like a golden retriever or some bullshit basic ass Disney movie shit. But everybody can't afford a dog. And listen. Beowulf has become the most expensive goddamn dog ever since I brought her to Ventura. You know why? Because now this bitch, she doesn't live in a dry ass desert anymore. Now I got to be worried about fleas and ticks. The first couple months she was here, this whore went out and got herself some fleas and ticks. So I had to start getting her on tea and flick medicine. Then I get her more shots. And now she's like accruing monthly costs. And then now I'm moving to a new place where now she has rent. I have to pay a pet rent for the goddamn dog. Okay? And then I have to put a pet deposit on it. And now I got to get her heartworm medication in Texas, because that's a thing. Fucking kill all the mosquitoes, okay? I almost want to be like, hey, Beowulf, don't get bit. You see a mosquito, you hear it, you have great hearing, run the other way, okay? Don't be like, what is this landing on me? Anyway, back to the story. So it makes sense, there's only 2 areas of pigeon owners. And it's funny because it's like, yeah, you can't just get your kid a dog. Every parent in the right mind, I understand where it's like, this is a big financial thing because you're going to have to get it shot. You're going to have to get a license. You're going to have to feed it. You're going to have to get toys for it. You're going to have to take care of it, wash it. That's a monthly expense, okay? No wonder it's part of the family now because it's like this bitch is, I'm working extra hours at work to take care of this thing, So it makes sense if you're just like, man, my kid wants a pet. Hey, fuck it. If you can catch that fucking bird, that's yours. And then all you got to do, a little bit of feed and water. Okay, it's just call them into the coop. Shit, you can even let pigeons out and let them be like, here, lunchtime, go catch some food. You could really do that. But they don't cost nearly as much. So it's a great affordable gift. That and feeder fish. I grew up with feeder fish as well. Crazy. And listen, I wouldn't trade my childhood of pigeons for the world because I think it's something that me and Mike Tyson will bond over one day, is growing up with pigeons. There's something beautiful about pigeons, okay? I know some of you are starting to salivate at just me mentioning pigeons, okay, because you love these pigeon stories, okay? But listen, it's not all sunshine and rainbows when you're talking pigeons, okay? Because there's some dark side stuff that happens in the pigeon world. It's not all coos and oohs and baby birds, all right? There's a dark underworld of pigeons. Dark underworld, okay? There's pigeon beefs. There's alpha, there's betas, all right? You got henpecked males, and when I say henpecked males, I mean that literally. One time I changed the name of a pigeon from Mr. Brown to Mr. Baldy. Why? He became the bitch of the coop. All the other pigeons in the coop pecked his fucking hair off just because they felt like it. They all woke up and chose violence. And they just found Mr. Brown. Tried to run him out of town. He was the clown. Bars. Listen. And they just pecked the shit out of him. And that would happen every now and then. And sometimes you gotta like separate a pigeon from the coop, you'd have to put him in a coop, like that goddamn Leonardo DiCaprio movie, Inception, where it's like, now we have a coop inside this goddamn coop because he's getting bullied. And then we would have situations where they would lay their eggs on the ground and it was just going to be a bad time. You got to build them nest boxes, okay? You got to put some nest boxes in there for the pigeons and so they can elevate, because guess what? Something that would happen too? Goddamn gophers and snakes would find their way into the coop, eat them a nice little pigeon egg, if you will, all right? They just get in there. It's a nice little appetizer for them. And that was always sad because sometimes you would run into issues. Same thing would happen with chickens where they have like phantom eggs where they can't accept that their pigeon egg is not there anymore. Or if, they laid on the ground and then ants killed their babies. And then it's like, they won't get off the dead babies. And it's like, it's so sad because then if you take it from them, they start going a little bit crazy. This is the dark world of pigeons. Everybody wants pigeons until you got to deal with the underside, okay? The underworld, if you will. The upside down world of pigeons, okay? And then you're like, well, Evan, why did you let them? Listen, you can't choose where they decide to build their nest. That's why you have to sometimes, even if there's boxes available higher up, they'll still go down there. And you can try to transfer them and be like, all right, let's get this nest. And the only way you can do this is move a nest from the ground to a box is if you do it while they're there and you wear gloves. You can't let them get any of your scent over their nest or they'll abandon those fucking eggs. They don't give a shit about them. They'll scramble them themselves, And then you got that side of it. That's the other dark side. When you start breeding pigeons in the spring, you start getting baby birds. Sometimes other pigeons get jealous. Maybe no one wanted to fuck that pigeon. And then all of a sudden, you got fucking other pigeons starting a gang. And they're like, let's go fuck up those bitches' eggs because we ain't get no eggs, so they shouldn't have any eggs. And it's goddamn socialism, okay? I tell you what. And then you lose those eggs. And then you got to deal with these fucking depressed pigeons over here. And they're going through some weird shit. And you turn into the goddamn Dr. Phil of the pigeon world. And now it's a whole mess, I don't know why you got me started on pigeons. But listen, I loved having pigeons, but I always wanted a dog. And the way that I actually ended up getting like my first real dog, meaning it was like from a puppy. Because when we got Bear was a grown ass man dog. Okay, that thing was 47 years old probably, and had a whole nother family that I went out for a pack of smokes. All right, I just felt that about Bear. I just felt like was Bear. Bear loved us, but it was just like it felt like Bear had a whole nother life before us. But I remember one night I'm sleeping, and then my brother comes in and he goes, "Dude, come in here." And then I go in there, and he had a little fucking puppy. A little fucking puppy, this little thing. And I remember just being like, oh. And I remember he was driving home from like his girlfriend's house, and he thought it was a cat, and he almost hit it with his car, but then he swerved when he saw it was a dog. Kind of racist against cats, but fuck him. And then he opens his door, and the little dog just runs up to him, and it jumps in, and he goes, "Hey, buddy." And that's how we named the dog, Buddy. And then Buddy became like my dog because I was like in love with it. And I remember my dad was like, "We're not fucking keeping this dog." And I was like, "Over my dead goddamn body, Pops. You had to put a goddamn bullet through your own son's head if you try to take this dog from me." And he was cool with it. My dad's from Brooklyn. He was like, "Yeah, well, we're going to get rid of this dog." And I remember we got to keep it for like a week or something. And then the day came where he was like, "This dog is not staying in here anymore," and told my older brother, "Take it to the goddamn pound or I'm taking it to the pound." And then it got to the point where, like it was Auschwitz, I treated this little dog like Anne Frank, and I hid this dog. I remember I remember, I'll tell it now because it's all over, but I took the little dog and I ran up to the top of the hill. And I remember my dad knew I was hiding up at the top of the hill behind a tree. And he started like he was looking at me, and then he was going to go, I forgot where he was going, but he went outside for a second, like in the front. And I made my escape with the little dog. Took it to the side of the house, opened up a trash can that was beside there. Listen, I had another trash can dog. And I put Buddy in there, little puppy. And I literally had this moment where I was like, "Don't make a fucking sound, or they're going to fucking kill you at the pound." And it felt like Buddy knew that because she was just like, "Oh, fuck, okay." So I put the trash can on the trash can. And I remember I went back in the backyard, and my dad came out, and he was like, "Where's the dog?" And I was like, "What dog?" And then he literally starts marching around the backyard trying to find the dog, goes on the side of the house. I remember standing, and it's like, I don't want to stand near the trash can to give it away. And I remember standing there with my arms folded, just looking at him, trying to tell him with my words, "If you take this dog from me, I'll never forgive you." And I remember him looking at me and then looking around. He kept looking for the dog, and then he couldn't find her. And then he had to go to work. And I was like, "Bye." And from that day on, I think it like set the tone. And we ended up, I think we went and got her a collar and like a toy. So then once my dad was like, "Well, shit, now I'm financially invested in this goddamn little thing. Now I'm losing money if I take it to the pound." And then it just became our family dog, Buddy. And listen, no one had ever had a dog in our family or trained a dog. So this was like a wild dog just like me, little Tarzan kid with a little wild dog. And we would leave the gates open on the side. This is what was crazy is we would like all go to swim practice, and we would leave the gates open. The dog would just be out. We would be pulling out of the driveway. Our dog would come out to the driveway, like near the street, watch us leave, and then just turn around and walk back to the backyard. Like it had full range to leave whenever it wanted, and the dog just would never run away. It was beautiful, we had such trust with the dog. It was so independent, 'Twas a good dog, Buddy. Happy Dog Tuesday, okay? And then obviously I have Beowulf now. And that's the thing is my dad loved the dogs. After he does that stereotypical thing where he would just, every dad just hits the side of the dog and it's just like, "Good dog." And the dog just doesn't really know if it's being abused or treated well, so it's confused. That was pretty much the life with the dog, But then I got Beowulf. It's funny because what's sad about Beowulf and good at the same time I got Beowulf from the pound, and she wasn't where she was supposed to be. I almost didn't want to go through that house of dogs because it was like they keep the puppies over here, walking through the pound, and then they keep like the old dogs over there, which is just sad because the old dogs at a pound, they're desperate. Okay, and rightfully so. Some of them have given up, and it's sad. Everybody wants a puppy. It's sad but true. That's life. All right. Plus, you're just rolling the dice getting an old dog. You can't treat an old dog from the pound the same as a puppy. It's going to come with its own bag of tricks, and they're usually bad tricks. Like, its tricks are like, oh, let me bite the first person I see tricks, because it was probably abused and they abandoned it. Or it's just seen too much in doggy nom, out there on those streets just living. But I remember my sister was like, well, let's walk through here. And I was like, all right, we'll go be depressed because we saw these old dogs. And Beowulf was actually in the wrong kennel, like the wrong cage, and she was with all grown dogs. And I remember I went up to her and I started like trying to pet her, and all she kept doing was biting me. She didn't give a shit. She just started biting me. And for some reason, as a dog owner, it turned me on. Not in a sexual way, but I was like, I love that this dog has spunk and isn't like, get me, get me, get me. Like, she wanted to play and everything, but she was just like growling and shit, and was just like, I don't give a shit about you. I'm ready to fight to the death. And so then I was like, well, now I want this dog completely, But listen, you pay for that, because I gave her a name, Beowulf Small Godzilla Lopez. And when you give a dog such a powerful name like that, you're going to have some bad times. Okay, that dog is going to eat all the window sills. That dog is going to eat all the base molding in the house. It's going to tear up the couch. And you're going to have to break her. And I did. I trained her now. She's a great disciplined dog. But she just was rough when she was a puppy. Bars. No pun intended. And here's the other thing. They found her in a trash can abandoned. So sad. So sad. But because of that, she never learned how to, like, she was taken way too young from her litter or whatever happened on them streets, doggy nom. She didn't learn how to socialize with other puppies, and they learn how to cuddle with their litter. That's like when you see puppies and everything, they're all cuddling. That's where dogs learn it, and it's like a comforting thing for them when they cuddle with their owner. Beowulf does not have any of that in her at all. She is not needy at all with cuddling or anything. She doesn't really know what it is. She doesn't really like it. You try to cuddle with Beowulf, and it's a matter of time before she just tries pushing your face away. She's just like, Even when you just try to pet her normally, she'll be really excited and happy, and then she'll just turn her butt to you. She only wants her butt scratched. It's the weirdest thing ever, and I feel like it's disrespectful. She's just like, you knew what this was, But that's my dog stories, okay? Happy National Dog Day yesterday. And it turned into a pigeon story. But I think dogs are great. Honestly, I don't really get people who don't like dogs. Like, people are like, I'm just not an animal person. Like, you don't like dogs? The fuck is wrong with you? Okay? I don't really trust people who don't like dogs. When you see a dog, you're like, I don't really want to pet it. All right? It's not like a kid. There's some people who are like, I don't really want a kid or something like that. I understand that. It's a big responsibility, but it's like, I actually don't know anybody who actively doesn't like kids. Like, if you just like, like, even just like from a distance, it'd be weird if you just liked them. Like, if you liked kids I like to look at them. That'd actually be more weird, right? If you're just like, nah, I don't really like interacting. I just like looking at kids. Like a weirdo who would like buy Playboy magazines. They're like, oh yeah, I just like looking at the pictures. Okay. That's weird in itself. But I just don't trust anybody who doesn't really like dogs, who doesn't, not everybody has to have a dog. They are a big responsibility. But to actively not like dogs, when you see a dog and not go, hey, puppy, not a good person. Not a good person. I remember one time I was walking into a buddy's house, and when we're about to walk in, I hear a dog violently barking inside, and he goes, hey, just so you know, my dog has some issues, and just don't show fear, okay? Opens the door. And I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. I walk in, this dog comes running at me, roar, roar, smell me, and I'm like, hey, Dog bit my hand. Dog bit my hand. Wasn't even trying to pet it. I was just walking by. And then they had to lock the dog in the room. Poor thing. You know, if I had been given a little more heads up, I probably could have handled that situation better. But yeah, what else is going on? Shit, we just almost did 30 minutes on that shit. I want to talk about this. Justice League. Ladies and gentlemen, the Justice League. The Snyder Cut has been released. If you don't know what this is, there was a movie that came out a few years back, Justice League. Flopped terribly, had some issues, and there was always rumor of this other version of it that we never got to see, the Snyder Cut. What had happened was Snyder was the director, and he unfortunately had some terrible family issues halfway through filming the movie, so they brought in another director. I believe it was Joss Whedon. Completely butchered the movie. It's hard, listening in his defense, to pick up a story halfway and just continue it. He did a bunch of reshoots and everything, but it just went terrible. What he was kind of set up to fail. But he butchered this movie completely. And then the movie came out. Everybody hated it. But over time, and this is what is beautiful about the power of the internet, over time, hush whispers of another version was out there. The Snyder Cut. This legend it grew into, this myth of the Snyder Cut. Holy shit, it's amazing. It caught so much momentum online, they decided that they were going to finish shooting it and put out another version of this movie they already had a theatrical release for. A 4-hour fucking movie released on HBO Max. And I'll be honest with you, I was like 4 fucking hours. Holy shit. I watched it over a 2-day period. I broke it up, I think, into 3 different viewing times. And it's a goddamn masterpiece. Okay? So much so, I almost wish movies were more open to being a 4-hour thing. Because here's the difference. It's easy. It's easy to blame a theatrical runtime for condensing a story. And it's because, like, I don't know why this whole 90-minute, 120-minute tops runtime, 2-hour movie, why are we doing that? I get it when it's like we're going to the theater, I get it. 2 hours is a long time. You can't overturn the movie as much. You're making less money. But if we can do more of these releases on like HBO Max where you allow the whole story to be told and we don't cut shit that's important, it makes for such a better storytelling setting rather than being like, cut this, cut this, cut this. It just makes such a better experience. And I was thinking about it because I have this debate a lot about which is better, movies or TV shows. I think right now TV shows are winning because longer format, they get more opportunity to tell a story over time. But after seeing a long format movie, I think it can be done in a 4-hour setting. And it made for a great cinematic experience that I think a 4-hour movie is almost as good as, if not better than, a TV show. Because you get the payoff, you get the wrap up pretty quick. It's not over a week's period of time. I think there's something to that with being able to do the whole thing in a small amount of time. It's not weeks building up these episodes. You start kind of forgetting little cue scenes and everything over a 6-7 week period. Sometimes, if it has 10 episodes, that's 10 weeks of watching this show. You're not going to be as fresh on the story from episode 1 as episode 10. You kind of got to remember small little cute things. But in like a 4-hour movie, if you watch it in 2 parts, you kind of, everything's so fresh from start to finish that it wraps up nicely. So I think they should explore that more, is these longer format movies. That's what's great about this time. And also, I just think it's great about this time is these platforms like HBO Max doing these original films and not having to go through the machine of ticket sales in these giant studios, because even with the Justice League, the studio's still get in the way of storytelling, and it's fucking terrible. All the best shit that we've seen, it's always when you have someone at the helm and they don't really have to answer to anybody. You get the best original story. Look at Jordan Peele, look at Us, look at Get Out. Look at these movies that have someone completely putting their story into it, and that's it. You're not having so many cooks in the kitchen. You don't have to check off all of these boxes just so they recoup their money, you know? The popcorn movie format. It doesn't work. And you even see it with this stuff that was getting cut out of Justice League, that was setting up more movies, and they're almost trying to sink it because it's gaining so much momentum, but they're like, oh, we don't want to go in that direction with Snyder. It's kind of crazy, but I love it, man. I feel like storytelling, entertainment, I feel like creativity is all going to a phenomenal place. All these movies that are coming out, all these different stories that are being told, TV shows, comedians. I love that you're seeing so many different comedians getting opportunities, and even stuff that's just on social media. There's even, comedians that I follow that I know that are just local comedians, in the sense of like they're starting to tour, like Jeremiah Watkins. Don't really know him that good. Joel Jimenez and Jesse Johnson. I've been on shows with her. They have, shout out to them, phenomenal skits that they're working on social media. I just love seeing original ideas get fleshed out online, where you don't need to go through all these different producers and people who don't see the end vision. You're just going to get so many cooks in the kitchen and people blocking things. And in this age, with so many different streaming packages, so many different places where things will be shown, you can find somebody that will promote or put your stuff on their platform. And it's beautiful, because you're seeing it even with like the Mortal Kombat movie coming out on HBO Max. I'm so fucking here for it. It's going to be phenomenal. And it's one of those things where it's like, this is a situation where they're not worried about, oh, it's got to be this huge thing and the budget, because now we're going to have to promote it in all these different theaters and all of that. No, it's just going on our streaming platform. This is the budget. Go in and finish the movie. Do it. They don't have a lot of notes. And I think that's amazing. That's one of the things that you see with Netflix. And I think that's why Netflix has done so well, especially with comedians, is they give budgets for TV shows and comedians with stuff that they want to do. And for the most part, they just go, okay, here's your budget. Go ahead and do this. Great, send it to us. And if there's obviously some things that are just like, well, can we change this? And, I think that's going to happen when you have a company as big as Netflix. But for the most part, they're pretty hands-off. And I think that's amazing. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, we're just in a good place with creativity and shit. And we're getting weird on a Wednesday, Gonna have episodes next week with guests on it. Your boy's gonna be making the move to Texas 1 week from now. I'll be well on my way. Getting weird on a Wednesday. Bars, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for listening to this episode. I love you guys as always. Thank you for everybody who downloads, reviews, tells a friend, plays it for a friend. Warms my heart, makes my willy tingle. And remember, no matter what, I still love you.